J-Bone here, and I've got everything you need to know before you watch this weekend's 2025 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, including a brief recap of this past weekend's Bahrain Grand Prix, which is where we're going to start right now. J-Bone! Here are the biggest results from the 2025 F1 Bahrain Grand Prix weekend. McLaren driver Oscar Piastri won the 2025 F1 Bahrain Grand Prix with an absolutely flawless and masterful drive, though you may not have realized it because he was barely shown for much of the broadcast due to just how dominant his race was. This dude Oscar somehow took the checkered flag 15.5 seconds ahead of P2, despite the fact that there was a safety car restart 60% of the way into the race that bunched everybody together again. Insane. Oscar's win makes him the first F1 driver this season to win multiple Grand Prix and has propelled him to second place in the World Drivers' Championship, just 3 points behind his McLaren teammate Lando Norris. Spicy. Oscar has a ton of momentum right now as he has 2 wins in the last 3 races, and he is only not currently leading the World Drivers' Championship by a decent margin because of that one pesky mistake he made in Australia. Completing the Bahrain podium, P2 went to Mercedes' George Russell, who impressively managed to hold off the surging Lando Norris in P3 late in the race while on weathered soft tires to prevent a Papaya 1-2 and make it so that George now has 3 podiums in 4 races. What a season start for George. Lando Norris's weekend, though, certainly could have been better, but was marred by a lackluster qualifying and a 5-second penalty for being too far forward in his grid box. The Ferraris finished P4 and P5 to take home their biggest points haul of the season thus far. Red Bull's Max Verstappen finished P6 after what was a very tough weekend for the previous race winner, where the car just never looked solid at all. Alpine's Pierre Gasly came out of nowhere to finish P7 after miraculously qualifying P5, and the Haas's of Esteban Ocon and Ollie Behrman both finished in the points at P8 and P10 respectively, as they were the bread in a Yuki Tsunoda P9 sandwich that saw Red Bull's second car score points for the first time since last season's Las Vegas Grand Prix 6 races ago. Going back to Ollie Behrman, he easily should have been named driver of the day for his unbelievable drive into the points from last place on the starting grid, but instead the award went to Lewis Hamilton for overtaking a Williams, a broken Red Bull, an Alpine, and a dude who got screwed over by the safety car. We gotta do better with our driver of the day votes, people, and it starts with you, okay? It starts with you. Next up, here's how J-Bone's F1 Rookie of the Year race is looking after the Bahrain Grand Prix weekend. As a reminder, I'm judging the F1 rookies all season long based on their performances relative to their cars, not just points scored. After each race, I award my last place rookie 0 points and my first place rookie 5 points, and the winner of J-Bone's F1 Rookie of the Year race will be the rookie with the most points come the end of the season. Here's how my 2025 rookie standings looked entering the Bahrain Grand Prix, and here are my Bahrain Grand Prix rookie rankings. In last place, it's for sure Liam Lawson. Liam got knocked out in Q1 in a car his teammate put in Q2, and then Liam had an awful race in which he received 2 separate penalties for causing collisions. In 5th place, I have Gabby Bortoleto, who qualified P18 and finished the race P18 in what was another absolute nothing burger of a race for him on account of how terrible the Sauber car appears to be right now. But hey, at least Gabby didn't get disqualified from the race like his teammate did. In 4th place, give me Isaac Hadjar. This was a down weekend for him where he never really sniffed the points. In 3rd place, I've got Jack Doohan, glass half full. Jack had his best ever qualifying session and narrowly missed out on his first ever Q3. Glass half empty, Jack didn't make Q3 while his Alpine teammate qualified P5. In 2nd place, I have Kimi Antonelli. I know a lot of you are accusing me of having Kimi bias, okay? But he qualified P4 ahead of Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, and Lewis Hamilton, and could have had a decent race if not for bad race and tire strategy plus a poorly timed safety car. And in 1st place, it is of course Ollie Behrman, who started the race in last place and made his way through the field all the way back into the points at P10 to make it 3 points finishes in a row for him. So here are the updated J-Bone's F1 Rookie of the Year race standings after Bahrain. Folks, let me know your thoughts on them in the comments. Our final order of business before we move on to the upcoming Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, we need to talk about how my 3 bona fide F1 Bahrain Grand Prix race predictions ended up. My first race prediction was that McLaren would secure a 1-2 finish at the Bahrain Grand Prix. I was absolutely glued to my television for the final laps of the race as Lando Norris was so close to overtaking George Russell at the last second to make it a McLaren 1-2, but alas, George masterfully held Lando off on degrading soft tires somehow to prevent that from happening and prevent me from being happy. If Lando had a better qualifying, or if he didn't get that penalty for being too far forward in his grid box, I think this prediction 100% hits which is a huge shame because, speaking of George Russell, my second race prediction was that George Russell would return to the podium after missing out on it in Japan, and ding ding, J-Bone got that one right. J-Bone! I knew George was going to just crush it in Bahrain because of how he performed there in testing, as well as how just solid he's been driving lately, and you can chalk that one up in the win column, baby. My third race prediction was that Yuki Tsunoda would finish in the points in Bahrain, and ding ding, J-Bone also got that one right to go 2 for 3. J-Bone, J-Bone! I honestly am not even that happy about this 2 for 3, as this easily could have and should have been a 3 for 3 for your boy if Lando had just finished where he should have. Come on, Lando. I was freaking out at the end of the race, knowing that if Lando just passed George, I'd be going 3 for 3, but sadly it was not meant to be. Pain. That decent showing puts me at 6 for 12 for the season thus far with my predictions, which, yes, means I am back at 50%. J-Bone! Take that, everyone who keeps commenting L-Bone on all my videos. That'll teach you to doubt the almighty J-Bone. J-Bone! By the way, while you're not commenting L-Bone on this video because I'm back at 50%, be sure to toss this video a like because I'm trying to hit 4,000 likes on it so that YouTube likes me more and shows my race previews and recaps to more people this season. It's totally free for you to do, so if you could please toss this video a like, it would really, really help J-Bone out. Alright, enough about Bahrain. It is time to look ahead and talk about this weekend's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. But first, even if you think it's a bit overhyped, AI is suddenly everywhere, from customer service to Formula Auto racing. If it's not in your industry yet, it's coming fast. But AI needs a lot of speed and computing power, so how do you compete without costs spinning out? Time to race to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a blazing fast and secure platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, plus all your AI and machine learning workloads. OCI costs 50% less for compute and 80% less for networking. That's a lot of prize money. Thousands of businesses have already upgraded to OCI, including Vodafone, Thomson Reuters, and Suno AI. Right now, Oracle is offering to cut your current cloud bill in half if you move to OCI. For new US customers with minimum financial commitment, offer ends May 31st. See if your company qualifies for this special offer at oracle.com/bone. That's oracle.com/bone. The Formula One Saudi Arabian Grand Prix takes place this weekend at the Jeddah Corniche Circuit in Jeddah, Mecca Province, Saudi Arabia, Arabian Peninsula, Middle East, Asia, Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Linear K Supercluster, Universe, Multiverse. The Saudi Arabian Grand Prix weekend starts this Friday, April 18th, which will consist of free practices 1 and 2. Saturday, April 19th will consist of free practice 3 and qualifying, and Sunday, April 20th will consist of the Grand Prix. This weekend's race will mark the 5th ever running of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, which has been held every year since 2021. Speaking of the 2021 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, fun fact, that was actually the most recent race won by Lewis Hamilton before he won last season's British Grand Prix. Well, depending on who you ask. Every other edition of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix has been won by Red Bull, with Max Verstappen winning twice in 2022 and 2024, and Checo Perez winning in 2023. The F1 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix's Jeddah Corniche Circuit is 6.174 kilometers or 3.84 miles in length, and the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix will be contested over the course of 50 laps around its 27 turns. The Jeddah Corniche Circuit is the fastest street circuit in Formula One history and the second fastest current circuit overall in Formula One, behind only Monza. Average speeds around the Jeddah Corniche Circuit are around 250 kilometers an hour or 155 miles per hour. Additionally, the Jeddah Corniche Circuit has the second most turns of any circuit in F1 history with 27. The only F1 circuit to ever have more was the French Grand Prix's Charade Circuit with an absurd 38 turns. The Jeddah Corniche Circuit's signature features are its banked hairpin, the high-speed blind corners you'll find all around the circuit that make it one of F1's toughest challenges for drivers, and the Turn 1 chicane that has played host to a lot of crazy race starts and restarts. Speaking of race starts and restarts, safety cars and red flags are a very common sight in Jeddah given its narrow track limits and high speeds, so get ready for some chaos. Next up, here are 3 storylines to follow for the 2025 F1 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix weekend. Your first storyline: every F1 race winner for the past 8 races in a row has one key thing in common. Do you know what it is? And if your response is, they're all F1 drivers, you're technically right, but you obviously know that's not the answer I was looking for. No, the one key thing they all have in common is that all of them also were the fastest driver in qualifying for that race. Now, you might think that this stat sounds obvious and unimpressive because it would, stand to reason that the fastest driver in qualifying would also be the fastest driver in the race, right? Well, Yes, however, I did some research, and this is actually the longest ever streak of drivers converting fastest qualifying times into race wins that I have been able to find in F1 history, made all the more impressive by how many different teams and drivers have contributed to this streak. I should note that the reason I have not mentioned the term pole position at all here is because while Max Verstappen was the fastest driver in Qatar's 2024 qualifying and went on to win that race, he was not technically the pole sitter for that race due to a one-place grid penalty that he would erase by turn 1. Speaking of Qatar, I also should note that this streak would be 9 instead of 8 if Lando Norris didn't pull that nice guy move and hand his McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri the 2024 Qatar Sprint win at the last second. So why does every race keep being won in this fashion right now? It obviously is largely due to these drivers being the fastest drivers that given weekend, who also get the benefit of starting the race in first place, duh, but it also is a consequence of the current regulation era. The current cars perform best in clean air, which you get when you qualify fastest and start a race on pole, or in Max's Qatar case, get to first place by turn 1. On top of that, with how large modern F1 cars are, while track widths and circuit designs have pretty much stayed the exact same, overtaking is about as difficult as it has ever been. This all gives a huge advantage to those who qualify fastest right now and plays a large role in the last 8 races being won by the driver who qualified on top. My point in talking about all this is that you should be on the lookout this weekend in Saudi Arabia to see if this super interesting trend continues. Do you think that the fastest qualifier will win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix this weekend? Let me, J-Bone, know in the comments. Your second storyline, does anyone know who McLaren F1 team's top driver is right now? Because I don't. They say you know you had a good race weekend when they barely show you on the TV broadcast because you're so far ahead of everyone, and that is exactly the type of race McLaren driver Oscar Piastri just had in Bahrain as he qualified on pole and then managed to win the Grand Prix by an absurd 15.5 seconds despite the fact that there was a late race safety car. His Bahrain win means Oscar is the season's first multiple race winner, a title that he beat his McLaren teammate Lando Norris to despite how Lando won the season's first race and thus had more attempts at it. It also means if it wasn't for that one mistake Oscar made in Australia that may have never even happened without McLaren initially using team orders to prevent Oscar from battling Lando, Oscar could easily be leading the World Drivers' Championship right now instead of being in second place behind Lando. Entering this F1 season, we pretty much all considered Lando Norris to be McLaren's lead driver given his experience and his performance last season, but I just don't know, folks. I just don't know. I think Oscar is making a very strong case right now that the title of McLaren's top driver should be his. This weekend in Saudi Arabia will tell us a lot about McLaren's driver situation now that Oscar has broken the win tie with Lando, and I just cannot wait to see how their dynamic unfolds this weekend and through the rest of the season. Who do you think McLaren's top driver is? Let me know in the comments. Your final storyline, my Haas delusion syndrome is officially back and better than ever. In case you're new here, Haas delusion syndrome is an ailment not yet recognized by the World Health Organization with symptoms that include but are not limited to believing Haas F1 team are actually the best team in F1 but are merely lying in wait, getting way too excited whenever Haas do something mildly impressive or better, and saying things like, Ollie Behrman 2026 F1 champion confirmed. And folks, I, J-Bone, have Haas delusion syndrome once again. Actually, it never left. Like Haas, it was merely lying in wait. After Bahrain, USA-based Haas F1 team have just jumped up into 5th place in the current F1 World Constructors Championship standings, which, if the season ended right now, which I'm lobbying for because it would be good for Haas, would tie their highest ever finish in the Constructors. What's even more insane is just how they got to this point. Haas looked awful in Australia, like really bad, but I never gave up hope. Then amazing in China, then sneaked 1 point out of Japan, then had an awful qualifying in Bahrain before somehow achieving a double points finish that included a drive into the points from last place by Ollie Behrman. Because I have Haas delusion syndrome, I cannot wait to see which podium positions will be occupied by Haas drivers this weekend in Saudi Arabia. My guess is all 3 somehow. Haas! I'm about to make your online life so much better by introducing you to my sponsor, NordVPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network and is a service that protects your internet connection and privacy online. VPNs create an encrypted tunnel for your data, protect your online identity by switching your IP address, allow you to use public Wi-Fi hotspots safely, and more. But NordVPN's services don't just help protect your data, they also benefit you in a ton of other ways, such as allowing you to securely access your favorite location-based streaming services even while abroad, preventing online price discrimination by allowing you to change your location to places where the prices are cheaper, and more. NordVPN is software, not hardware, and is super easy to set up on every major platform including Windows, Android, iOS, macOS, Linux, and even Android TV. Additionally, NordVPN is one of the fastest and most popular VPNs on the market, and if you've ever wanted to experiment with a VPN, you should try out NordVPN with my exclusive offer. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/bone. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the podcast episode description box. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Here are my 3 bona fide race predictions for the 2025 F1 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I'm currently at 50% on the season with my predictions, and I intend to make that even better right now. My first race prediction is that Max Verstappen will win the 2025 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen is incredibly hard to predict at the moment, considering he had that remarkable win from Pole and Suzuka, and then just followed it up with a P6 in Bahrain. However, considering Red Bull have won in Jeddah every year of the current regulations era, and also considering just how massively they've won there by each of the past 2 seasons, I love Max Verstappen to bounce back in a big way by winning in Saudi Arabia. My second race prediction is that Ferrari's Lewis Hamilton will finish ahead of his old Mercedes teammate George Russell in Jeddah. Ferrari have enjoyed significant success in Jeddah recently and have racked up 3 podiums there in the last 3 seasons. Mercedes, on the other hand, have not finished higher than P4 there in the current regulations era, and even went a dismal P6 and P9 there just last season, and that is why I like Lewis over George this weekend, despite how George has started the season on fire with 3 podiums through 4 Grand Prix. My third race prediction is that Oscar Piastri will finish ahead of his McLaren teammate Lando Norris. Oscar's just got the hot hand right now with 2 wins in the last 3 races, and you could even make the case that if it weren't for team orders, Oscar very well could have beaten Lando Norris in every race thus far this season. After seeing his dominance in Bahrain, I've just got to ride with Oscar in Saudi Arabia, a race where, also, he's beaten Lando Norris every time they've raced each other there. Now, for the most important part of this video, what are your predictions for the 2025 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix? Let me see them in the comments. Go comment right now. Also like the video, but comment first. And last but not least, here's my prediction for the top 5 finishers in the 2025 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix with 0 reasoning nor explanation. P5, Lewis Hamilton. P4, Charles Leclerc. P3, Lando Norris. P2, Oscar Piastri. And P1, Max Verstappen. Toss me a subscription now and ring that notification bell so that you'll get my Saudi Arabian Grand Prix recap next week right when it drops. And while you're doing that, do not forget to like this video so that YouTube likes J-Bone more. It really would help me out a lot. Special shout out to my top YouTube channel members: Joe Max's #1 hater Snow, Brian Linton, Wolsto's Racing, Waffleopolis, Melissa Cruz, The Tater, Elmar Zuber, and David Hake. Mash that join button just below this video to get your name shouted out right here in future videos. And if you want to join 1,000+ F1 fans in the free to join Formula Bone Discord community, you can go do that through the join link in the description. Until next time, folks, J-Bone! J-Bone!